Welcome back to another episode of Housing Solutions of New York podcast, One Step Away, a safe space to transform lives one step at a time. I hope you're having a good day today. I am your host, Dr. Xellex Rivera, also known as Dr. X. We're going to have a good time, fun time, but I feel like we always have a good time and we always have a fun time. But I'm glad that you're here. For those who might be tuning in for the first time, please like, subscribe, all that great stuff. We want to hear some comments, or we want to read some of your comments below for our conversations, and we want to hear from you. So please, please, please like, subscribe, tune in to our podcast as we keep these conversations constantly going. Today, I have a friend and a sister in the struggle of homelessness, who we're going to have a great time. We was most recently on a panel not too long ago at Caucus, and she was taking my ideas out of my head, and I was taking her ideas out of her head. So, I feel like we twins at this point, but I'm glad to have her with me. I want to introduce to you, everybody, Diana Santos from WIN.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me, Dr. X. We made this connection throughout the years of seeing each other, especially on that panel.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like you could complete my thoughts. I was like, yeah, that part.
Yeah. I think they put us next to each other on purpose. I think they knew. Too. They had to. First of all, it was 9 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was thinking that much. So that's how you knew. Too. Yeah, they had to put us together.
Synergy
and we shared a microphone. It was like...
we shared a microphone.
Like, you say it, I'm going to say it. You say that too. And then you say something, I whisper it.
That's what I was going to say. I think, passion brings that type of bond between what we do. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Connections are very, very necessary. The other thing I like about our bond is, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of connected more in the LinkedIn space at first, right? A little bit.
Right.
I didn't know how valuable LinkedIn was as a tool until after my PhD, right? And I'm like, I don't need another platform for my profile picture. That was me. But being able to connect, and I love connecting with other minority female leaders in this space. And I think that connected us first. And then, please, meeting in person, that's when we became twins. So
that was kind of a funny story, because just real quick, as you reminded me of this, you reached out to me, and it was at the end of me having a conversation that same day with some staff members about, we need to build more of an alliance with other agencies. And it needs to be that we come to the table to share ideas, because no one here is competing. Everyone here has the same goal, the same mission, the same obstacles. And I want to give my ideas to people, and I want ideas because this isn't a silo. I can't do this alone, and I need help. And you hit me up that day.
So, for the CPO Network Alliance. I was like, oh, you're a CPO? Come join us. Oh, my God. You see how that works? Okay, enough about us, because now everybody's watching this, and they're like, great. Now they're best friends, and they're just watching us cut up.
Right, I am.
But Diana, you are the CPO over at WIN. Is it formerly Women in Need, or y'all still go by Women in Need?
It's formerly actually WIN. It used to be Women in Need.
Okay.
Right.
So y'all go by WIN now, to be clear. I want to, because, I've known WIN for a very long time. I knew WIN back, 16, 17 years ago when it was Women in Need. And I want you to give some context to the name of that back then, and then the context of how, now you just kind of gone to WIN. But CPO role at WIN. So tell me a little bit about yourself, what you currently do, but also give me that context history between the Women in Need versus WIN concept.
Sure. First and foremost, I appreciate you having this platform to talk honestly about what housing instability looks like in New York City.
Yeah.
I always say this needs to be like a 101 class in school, just shelter in general, and what housing consists of in New York City. Yeah. So thank you so much for that, to be able to talk about systems, opportunities, stability, all of it. I'm so excited. So like you said, I'm Diana Santos. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Program Officer at WIN. I oversee program strategy across the shelters and housing programs, serving families with children. But I also, my role has focused in on other things, which we strategically did. I oversee our policy team. I oversee our innovative team. I oversee our strategy team. And I think that's a little different than other agencies. I did that purposefully because what I found was obviously all these departments support this one main department. But what I
Mm-hmm.
saw was that it was hard to get to them and that there was a teaching moment for our program staff to learn about the power of policy, the power of advocacy, the
Yeah.
power of research, the power of being innovative in a space that does not always support that. And so I said, you know what, to our CEO, Chris Quinn, why don't you give me those departments, right? Because we're doers, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah.
oversee those. And now we can all work together to
Work
be
together. There
able
you
to
go.
get the client's voice in the policy work that we do and make it in real time. And boy, that took a life of its own, and it's been great. So WIN was known as Women in Need, and it used
Mm-hmm.
to focus on mostly or only women, single moms mostly, and
Mm-hmm.
substance abuse when it first started. We grew and transitioned into shelter, which now we have 16 shelters. 15 are family shelters. One is a single adult shelter, and we're in every borough. So we're the
Nice.
biggest provider of family shelters in New York City. We
Mm-hmm.
also embarked on supportive housing, and there we have 5 different supportive housings, and together we service over 2,500 families.
Nice. And you said you entered into supportive housing, and you have how many supportive housing again?
We have 5 buildings for supportive housing, some are
Uh
scatter
huh.
sites, and we have about 500 plus clients there, families.
Nice, nice, nice,
I
nice.
know.
Okay. So you said you have a lot of, I don't want to say different hats, right? Because I don't like the concept. Every time somebody says, "Oh, I wear different hats," I literally think of people
Different
putting on different hats, and I
like
don't
church
like the
hats.
image. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, first of all, talk to me about why you wanted those other departments in
Sure.
comparison to like the classic, I guess, CPO role, and how those other departments intertwine to
Mhm,
better support the overall program
mhm.
division.
When I became chief program officer, so a little bit about that. I started at WIN as a program director. I don't know if you know this story, Dr. X. I started as a program director 10 years ago. A year later, I was the clinical director. A year later, I was assistant vice president. A year later, I was vice president. And 2 years later, I was CPO. And it was
Nice.
2 years because it was COVID, right?
Don't blame the global pandemic. Did
Yeah.
you just need to?
So I stayed two
You
years
said I would
there,
have been.
which
I
was
would have been as
fine.
sooner. I would have
Which
been
was
as sooner.
maybe,
But
maybe. Well, I had a great CPO at the time, so he ended
okay,
up leaving for better opportunities. I walked into the role, and that's kind of how that transitioned.
nice.
But
Okay,
I kind of grew up here at Win, and so
okay,
I've been everything but maintenance here. Even though I've changed a few toilets, I've had every role, and I worked at every site, and so then I become chief program officer. So a little bit about that.
okay.
Having navigated all those worlds, when I became chief program officer, what I saw was that we were doing great work in different departments. However, we needed to educate our program staff on what that looked like in its entirety. And to assume that just because you work in this world, you know the world of policy, you know the world of advocacy, of research, of strategic thinking in general, I thought was a privilege and that it was not okay to assume that. And what I saw was that there wasn't cohesiveness between those
Mhm.
departments, or as much as
Yeah.
there could be, because those departments had a different leader and or were under a different chief. And I
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
I think it's more strategic to think about, in essence, what is it we do? What's our mission? Our mission is that we support families that are navigating what we know to be a broken system. Fine. Let's be intentional about that. And we at WIN decided that we're not only going to support our families when it comes to housing, but that we're going to also embark in the world of policy, in the world of advocacy, in the world of research, in the world of
Mhm.
innovative programming, like our Cash Alliance program. And so we decided that why not put it under the same umbrella? That way, you don't have to do this or go over mountains to get to that,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Instead, we're all one big department and you have access to the families, to the staff, one on one, and including their voices in all the decisions that we make, whether it's
Yeah.
policy, whether it's advocacy, whether it's a research program. We want to include the client's voice as much as possible. And we want staff in every department to have access not only to the clients, but to the staff also, and the
Yeah.
frontline staff and the day-to-day work. And that's taking a life of its own. I will not take now one more department. I don't even want a plant. Okay? I don't want to be in charge of one more living
I'm
thing.
gonna buy you a plant now just because you said that. I'm
Okay,
gonna
it better be fake. It better be plastic.
because it's
Now,
not
one
gonna
more
live.
thing.
The plant's not gonna live.
No, it's gonna die. You said I don't want to be in charge of one more thing. However, we have integrated these
Oh man.
different departments, and the success of it and the growth of it have been, I don't think any of us could have ever imagined. And it works. It works.
Nice. Nice. Do you think that your journey from being a, boots on the ground program director to now being CPO, do you think that plays a role in your decision making today and like how you manage today?
I think every role I've had has led me to this, right? I'm always asked, like, how did you get into this field? What happened? Your backstory and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't like, the corny response of, I found this work and it found me. And my whole purpose, right? My thing is, this is a calling for
Yeah.
me. And fortunate for me, I found my calling pretty young. And everything I've done in my life in some freaky, funny way has led me to exactly
To
where I'm
this.
at and
Yeah.
and what I'm doing. And so not only the director role, whatever I've done, I worked at Rikers Island, I've ran methadone clinics, I worked in supportive housing, I worked in the criminal justice system. Every step of the way, I've done life insurance, everything I did, I've had 9 lives. I know I look pretty young, but I'm not. I've had 9 lives, and everything I've done has led me to where I am today, and the success that I've had in being able to grow. But really, the experiences has
Yeah.
given me now a lens of how the work is, and having done it myself, I think it's just an added plus. But I also hire people and grow them, and my team is really who runs this. They're
Yeah.
my bosses. They're the leaders of this. I always say, you don't need me. I need you. And so
That part.
inspire me and I'll inspire you. Teach me and I'll teach you. But this is a round table of a bunch of experts and people that want to learn and that want to contribute to making these families or helping these families navigate this system. And it's been fun so far in doing so. So yes,
Well, that's
being a director
good.
helps.
Got you. Anything else in your past experiences that you think or that you're open to share that you think has molded your leadership style today? Like a life
Oh,
instance, a work instance, anything that you were
great
like, that key
question.
moment always flags me every time somebody asks me, why do I lead like this?
Great question. Early on, I figured out that a few things. I figured out that my value system was going to guide me in my work. And that to me, early on, maybe because I went to Catholic school my whole life, I don't know, whatever it was, my value systems and my morals, right? But my value system was very clear to me.
Yeah.
And while most say, I put God first and family, then I think is one of the most typical answers. For me, early on, commitment was my main value. Commitment to God, commitment to my family, commitment to the work that I did. And
Yeah.
so my work is guided through commitment. Every decision I make is made through that
Through
lens.
commitment.
So decisions to me are really easy. For example, if I need to hold people accountable, if I need to put something in place, for me, the commitment I have to these families is clear as day from beginning to end, from the minute I walk in to the minute I leave. And so anything that comes in between me and that commitment or is an obstacle or I see as an obstacle, I need to remove. Therefore, when I speak to staff, when I speak to clients, when I speak to anyone, my first question is, what is your level of commitment to what we're trying to do here?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the people I serve or we serve look like me and you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's no coincidence. And so I take that responsibility And I take it really serious because they look like me, they look like my family, and any day
Mm-hmm.
I believe that
You
that
could be
could be
homeless.
me and that could be my
Yeah.
family, and that we're all one check away in New York City. And
Yep.
so treating people with respect, especially people that look like me and you, to
Yeah.
me is a commitment that I won't break. Inequality to me is a trigger. That comes from being a social worker, that comes from being a woman of color, that comes from being a social worker. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves. And
Yeah.
so that to me becomes, starts kind of modeling and building the model of the leader that I become and how I lead. My vision is clear, my mission is clear. And so when I give guidance,
Yeah.
I want to meet you where you're at, but I want to share this vision and see what yours is. And does it combine? Does it complement this? So my
Right.
leadership vision is so clear in what I want to do and what I want to get done because I'm driven by my commitment. And it's
Yeah.
that easy. I don't know if that answers that.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. So tell me, when or how? Let's go. Well, when did you know when was the right place for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
I have good questions sometimes.
I know, that's good. I've been here 10 years in August.
Yep.
I've never been at any job more than 2 years. I think that might be
I mean, that's kind of
good.
obvious, you know?
So there you go. That's when I decided
You said before
every year I'm
here, I
like,
give
am I
people
still
2 years
at work?
and I'm out of there. You said 2 years was your clip off,
two
and you
years.
was you was like, I'm out. This is too much.
I've never lasted longer than 2 years in jobs. To me, things not because they were bad, not because they were good, not because it was in a good agency. Like I said, I'm driven by a calling. I know when my calling or my purpose in that place is over because
Mm-hmm.
I do the work, what we call the work outside of
Yeah.
work, which is
Yeah.
to be in a place that when I hear that and when I know that, I know it's time and I'm being called for another purpose or for something else and I hear that very clearly. I know it. I end the chapter and I move on and I go to my calling most humbly, knowing that if the higher power wants me to do something, build a house, he's going to give me a hammer. So I don't worry about the how. I go and the when, where just
It
happens.
just lays it out.
It just lays it
So
out. So I follow that. Here at Win, I haven't received a phone call yet to go, and my calling has stayed here. And it's been 10 years. So this
it's
is
that I haven't
home.
received a phone call
No,
from me.
I haven't. I'm like, is there a call? No, no call. It's here. Yeah,
So so tell me,
that's real.
what are some of the programs at Win that you're the most proud of?
Oh,
And don't say all. I mean, you could say all. Shout out to all
you
the programs
see?
that win. Because you the
Fine.
CPO, you can't pick just one. But hey
Okay,
guys,
okay.
everybody who's listening, I'm asking her
I
to pick
know.
one. It's not her fault, it's my fault.
All right.
She loves
Just
all
one,
of
you're
y'all.
saying.
I
Just
want just
one. You said not
one.
all. Can I
Not
pick
all.
some?
Yeah, it says programs. So not all though. Don't just say, "Oh, I love
You know
all my
what?
programs. They're
Since I
great."
speak really
Give me
fast, I bet you I
some.
could get
Yeah,
in
give me
most.
some meat and
Okay.
potatoes.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what? And I'll tell you what makes us unique, I think. We have an interdisciplinary team that welcomes every family that walks in, and it's made up of expertise, right? So we have an expert in housing, an expert in clinical work, an expert in directing that team, right? And so together they complement each other. They assess families as quickly as possible. This is it. This is what we did that I know worked. And it was, we created an environment where people want to come to work for the most part because people
Nice.
want to win. No pun
Oh, look
intended.
at that pun. That
You
was a
like that?
pun. Shout out to
I
you. That was
know.
good.
I didn't even
That was
practice that one.
good. I mean,
I
you should
believe
write
that
that
retention.
down. We
Let me,
created an environment
can someone
that
just
people
take
want
note?
to work
Right
because
here.
people want to win. Write that
People
down.
want to win. People want to be part of a winning team. I believe that hard work is not scary to most people. People that are in this field tend to be genuinely good people that are committed, and people that want to work. And so that part is done, but people want to work and see the needle move. And so
Yeah.
when you win at what you're doing, then it was worth all the stress. It was worth all the gray hair that I dyed 2 weeks ago. It was worth all of that because you're seeing that needle moving and you're feeling like a winning team. And I needed to figure out, we needed to figure out How do we get people to feel like they are winning? And we got to give people the tools to be able to assess families quicker, to be able to meet needs quicker. And so we're going to enhance their clinical set of skill sets so that they
Mm-hmm.
can do that quicker, faster, meet their goals, move families out successfully. And now you didn't only meet numbers.
Meet
You did
numbers.
quality move
Yeah.
outs, and people are not coming back. 93% of our clients stay out of shelter.
Nice.
93%. I'm working towards that 100, but I know that what we did was we heightened people's skill set to be able to meet those needs quicker. And we did so in a way that now people want to work at Win, I believe, because they feel like they're winning.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. As for
Well, if it's
support,
not,
it was we brought in everything to help
I
them out.
think that you should give that quote to your
I
communications and
give it.
marketing
I'm gonna give it. See,
department.
I didn't even practice that one. That's for real.
I'm serious, but that was
People want to
good.
win. People want to go home, feel tired, and know that the needle moved. The worst feeling in the world is to go
Trust me, I
home, feel
know.
exhausted, know that you worked all day,
All day.
but it didn't move. But the needle
Yeah.
didn't move.
Nothing
That to
happened
me is
today.
heartbreaking.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think is one of the major things that you always want your team to learn from? And then after this, I'm gonna pivot us to the systems because me and you gonna go on our tangent about the system.
You said
But
no cursing though, so
right, what
I'm gonna keep
lessons
it.
do you feel like you always want your team to be taking heed to? Because like for me, one of the things I always tell my team is that we do excellence without excuses. I
Mm,
tell my team that I will go to the ends of the earth for whatever you're asking me for. I don't care if you asking me for purple toilet paper. If I need to go find a way to put purple toilet paper on the budget, then I'm gonna go get us purple
yep.
toilet paper and confetti, right? But at the end of the day, when I come back to you, oh, I also say you can vent when you talk to me. You can cuss, you can yell, don't throw nothing, all that kind of stuff. Because
Please.
as you know, this work is frustrating. The emails
That's
that
right.
come through to us is
That's
frustrating.
right.
The quotas that come in at late moments, the incident, all of it is frustrating. So
All
you
of it.
can yell in my office and you can do all the things and cuss. At the end of all that yelling, though, you got to give me a solution. And you cannot just make an excuse for why you can't perform because these clients that we service need us at a level of excellence at all times. Right?
I love
So
that.
thank you. So that's always been
Love
my
it.
thing when they learning their lesson. So what's one thing with your team that you always want them to take heed to, like in lesson learning and things of that nature?
I have a few. So I always say, who you are, you take everywhere you go. Right?
I
Who
like
you
it.
are, you take everywhere you go. So what do I mean by that? I don't care if your job is to clean that toilet or your job is to run that shelter. It doesn't matter. Do it with
Yeah.
pride and do it so that whoever sits on that toilet and whoever comes into that shelter says, who runs this? Who did this? Because they're impressed because you gave it your best.
Yeah.
My my ask of staff is you don't have to be the best. I want you to give your best. Do your best. Come in as authentically as you can, have conversations with people that matter, and be
Yeah.
genuine and authentic about what you're doing. And you're going to get everything you need from that client to move forward every single time.
Every time.
Every
Every
single
time.
time because it doesn't it's you coming forward and you presenting as someone that really cares, that has their
Yeah.
own story,
Yeah.
that knows this person sitting next to them could be their mom, their father, their brother, their sister, and comes humbly to meet you where you're at. So be real about the work. Also, dress in the role you want, not the one you're in. I
I
say that to
told you
people.
you was my twin, right? You know
Dress in
how
the role you want.
often I am preaching about dress codes and
Listen,
dressing and all because I'm always telling people that when first of all, you looking similar to the situation in which your client is in is not motivating
it's not
to the
guidance.
client, right? That makes you a peer now. That doesn't make you like there's
No,
no aspirations, there's no motivations for that person. You have to look like you work someplace
you're a role
and you
model.
should you should look like the position you want, not the position that you may be currently in. And even if you wear a uniform,
It doesn't
that
matter.
uniform should be the best looking, high, bright colored uniform ever. But it's like and it's like sometimes that goes in one ear and out the other. And I'm always
Yep.
like, oh, well, how can I get to people? Some people try to say, I'm antiquated,
And you
like
know
I'm
what?
old
They miss
school.
it. Sometimes, me too. And they miss the point of it sometimes. It's a little even further that. So sometimes I have conversations during supervision or wherever where I say that. And the next day I see them in a three-piece suit. And I said, okay,
So you
listen,
you
all
got
right,
it. You got
hold
it
on.
overnight.
You got it.
You needed to
And
get
I
it on
hear
your own
you.
time, not when I.
You got it. But I want to take it a step further than that. It's not so much, yes, your attire, your professional attire. What I
Yeah,
want is, I want you to dress in the role you want. And I want people to say, with no doubt in their mind, that's the next president. That's the next
yeah,
CEO. Give them no doubt. Give them,
correct.
there wasn't a role I stepped in that I didn't walk in with purpose and intention every single day as if I
Me
already
too.
owned the role. I take initiative. I went above and beyond. And for my whole leadership team, which is 85% homegrown, I tell them, dress in the role you want. Let everyone see. There's no doubt in my mind that she's the next or he's the next
That part. Let me
because
tell
you
you,
dressed in that role. You walked in
coming
that purpose.
coming up, I tell people that I was so, I guess, ambitious. I say inquisitive, ambitious, whatever the word you want to use. I would stay at the job like 10, 12 hours after my time because I just wanted to learn. Like I knew, like in my head, I had my own timetable. Like,
Yep.
listen, I'm gonna be a DSS for 1 year. I don't have time after that because I want to be the PD, and then after the
I'm
PD, I
focused.
want to be the. So then, in order for me to be the PD, I need to learn building management, right? If I'm
Exactly.
in the DSS, I
I
could
need to
pass the
learn it
audit now.
all.
So now I got to go follow the building inspectors, right? Because I need to understand what you're looking for, what's happening, what does this audit mean, and it's also better to learn those things when you're not responsible for those things. That's the other thing
Right.
I tell people. People
I
want to rush into roles. Like, no, no, no. Why don't you rush into knowledge, right? So that way when you get
Smart.
the role, now that
I
I'm
like
holding you
that.
accountable to that role, I can, you're not going to get fired so easily, right? You're
Mhm.
going to actually know. Same concept. It's always like just be hungry, be hungry, be
Be
hungry.
hungry. Take
Um,
initiative. Think strategically.
take
Critical thinking. Let me say that again. Critical
critical
thinking.
think.
It's been lost in our system. Think critically. Think outside the box. I'm never going to hold you accountable for thinking outside the box and making
Never.
sure to see things from a different perspective. Use your personality. And last but not least, housing is the prerequisite for stability. Keep that as your head. Housing is the prerequisite for stability. A
Yeah.
roof over your head and food in your stomach are basic needs. Let's not act like we are
Or doing somebody a
rewarding.
favor. Like we're
You know,
like,
we're
oh,
doing
you
what
need
everybody
someplace
deserves, right? And
what
didn't
everybody
get
is
because of
entitled
this.
to. Correct.
Let's let's just remember that. So let's stay humble in that
Yes, everybody across the board.
everybody deserves this. But I also tell them, you go home. I hope you go home and pat yourself on the back because every day you contribute to making sure that somebody has a roof over their head and food in their stomach.
And
And that,
food in
my
their
friend, makes
stomach.
you a superhero.
That part. That part. And people
Yeah.
remember that for a
Yeah.
long time, forever.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Most recently, there's a major shelter closure in New York City
Mm,
that is taking place with the intake center
mhm.
in Manhattan, and they're doing some changes with that and the structure in the overall system as a whole.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts around the relocation of the intake center or just the overall process that you are open and willing to share?
Sure. Um, you know that our policy team has done a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
around improving what that looks like, the intake center path.
Yep.
And
Yep.
actually, ironically enough, that's the next policy we're going to take back up, actually. We
Okay.
left it for a little while. We made some improvements, some things changed, and actually, starting next week, we're going back on. That's so ironically, Chris Mann and the head of policy, Henry, would be really happy to hear that I mentioned that on here. Um, so I think, especially this mayor is coming in with great ideas. on what's next. I think
Yeah.
we're living in times that we haven't seen before. I think we're
Yeah.
dealing with things that we haven't seen before. I don't know about you. I all the time say, wait a minute, my job description just changed so much. What am I doing again? What just happened? What? We thought it was challenging 5 years ago. Hold on. Who you oh COVID. And then we have
And then,
migrant
and
families.
then,
And then oh snap. So it seems to me that the people that are being put in charge of these things are looking at things and saying, what we did before is not working, or it's not going to work because it's a different time
yeah, there you go. It's not going to work for where we're going, for where the future is going. It's
where
almost
we're
like when
going.
people talk about the difference in where we are right now, technology wise, versus the infusion of AI, right? So you can't ignore something that is bound to happen because
So
then
let's
you're
embrace
going
it
to
and learn
fail,
it.
right? Because you're going
We
to fail.
learned
If you're
nothing
going to
else from
ignore
this
the thing,
generation.
yes,
We learned that one, the way they value themselves, and two, they are open to that change. And I
yes,
think we can learn
quickly.
from that. So again, for Path, we have got to do better with drop-in centers or wherever we're going to open them, whatever we do. We've learned that what we did in the past is not working, that we need to improve how we decide what families are homeless, that whole system is not working. Only 7% of the families that come in are found to not be eligible for shelter. And so the process that we put these families through is not okay. It's not
But and
okay.
the children, right? You got to look at that too. The children that are
We're
impacted at the
swapping them
fact
back
that
and
you got to
forth
keep coming back to
every
what you
10
got to
days.
keep coming. Poor attendance in school because you got to keep coming back to the intake center.
So it's
Um,
quadruple trauma. So now
yeah.
you became homeless, you're in the
Yep.
shelter, you've been pulled out of
Yep.
school, your
Yep.
attendance is crap, and
Yep.
hence your child ending up in shelter again
Correct.
as an
Or
adult.
just not
Here's the
learning, right? Or
generation.
being left back, or not having friends. Like there's all kinds of other layers to this that just keep
Which
adding
leads
up.
to us continuing in this cycle that
Correct.
is the broken system we call housing. And so all those things contribute to that. I think those are first steps to changing that. I think we're going to see a lot of changes. I hope we're going to see a lot of
Yeah,
great
I hope so
changes.
too.
I think they're beginning to embrace that this is all clinical work that we do in everything that we do,
Yep.
and that this is trauma based, and that we need to be trauma informed, and that these things need to be put in place. So I hope those things happen. Um, it seems like we're going to be opening more shelters.
I honestly think that I hope that somebody thinks big and does the super big, unpredictable, wow thing. That's what I'm hoping for.
Me
Because
too.
I honestly don't think that we need more shelters per se.
I don't
I
either. Of
think that we need to be more innovative in our creative approach,
course,
just in New York City as a whole, regarding just either temporary housing as well as housing, right?
I agree.
I don't
I
think we
agree.
need to say, "Oh, let's just build another one." Like for what, right? Let's
For
build
what?
for
For
what?
what?
Let's build housing, right?
Let's build housing.
Com-
Let's be more preventative
pre-
before it gets to a
let's do more
crisis.
preventative and let's do more aftercare, right? So
Let's
stop
keep
building a
people in their
building
homes and
that I gotta
aftercare,
institutionalize, right? Give
right?
me some preventative and give me some aftercare dollars, and let's focus on that because
And then
people
help
really
me
need
move out
that
these families quicker. So now you have an
quicker,
open
quicker.
unit quicker. I don't need another shelter. I need to move the
No.
families that are there
Out of here
quicker,
quicker, get them the services, they can stay out there with
right?
their services, and then everybody just keep.
Provide
Listen,
vouchers quicker, take off the red tape, stop with the sending back of applications. Let's get
yes,
it right. Let's move them out quicker. You lessen trauma. You open up units quicker. You don't need more shelters.
you
Let's
don't need
move
more
out our
shelters.
families the right way and let's see the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
Seems like more shelters are coming now.
Yeah, so hopefully they hear this and we're just telling y'all just think bigger. Um, think bigger, think
Agreed.
about solutions and do the wow factor. Definitely looking for the wow factor, being in this field a very long time. Trying to look for the wow factor. All right, throughout your work, Diana, what do you think is your biggest moment thus far?
My biggest
At
moment
when?
thus
Because you know you had
far,
9 lives. So let
I
me
had
let
a,
me say it.
um, I mean, I think I've had a lot of moments I win.
Okay.
By far, it's the team I've been able to build and be part of. Um, I have some of the most hardworking, intelligent, dedicated, committed human beings in my team. I have nothing but respect for the people that I sit beside. Um, the combination of people that we have lead us to not only do great work, but go above and beyond what's considered to be good or great.
Yeah.
Our housing target is not a target. Our housing target is what we do because we want the best for our people. Us meeting our
Yeah.
housing target by 100% was a testament to that team and the compliment they give me. And I know a lot of people say that, right? And they say,
Yeah.
because it sounds good to say your team was so. I really walked that. I am a reflection of the strongest team I've ever worked with and for. No insult to anybody that's out there that I've worked. I love my people. God knows I bring them with me everywhere I go. So I steal from everywhere, but I also bring my
Yeah.
people with me because I enjoy being here. I love it. And I see that same passion and empathy and commitment from the team I've been able to build and be part of. By far, my biggest achievement is this team.
Awesome. So, what are some words of advice that you'll give somebody who's listening to us today as we had this wonderful cut up session, right?
You know, you look like we hanging out in my
What's
living
some
room.
words of advice that you'd give to an emerging leader listening today? Or somebody who's like, I want to work, with the unhoused.
Okay. Um, do the work. Do the work. And what I mean by that, I don't know that everyone understands that. I think Dr. X, we
Yeah,
speak that language. Do the
we
work.
do.
By the work, I don't mean the work at work. I don't mean
Yeah,
showing up and doing your work. I mean the work you do outside. I mean the work you do for you. See, a secure leader guides people with security. An insecure leader is the death of you. If
yeah,
you are a secure person, if you walk your walk and you're authentic and you're genuine and you work and you are a person that can hold yourself accountable, can see, work on that, right? On being better, on holding yourself accountable, on being the
right,
first person to say, how can I have done better? On doing
right,
the work outside of here to be safe mentally, physically, to be in a good place, to appreciate others, to be able to say, to be in such a great place that when you sit in that seat, you know that if one of your people surpass you, then that's what makes you a great leader. And
yeah,
not being
yes,
intimidated by the brightness of that room. But that work goes outside. And so my advice is do the work outside of work to become the person you want to be so that when you show up in its entirety and you show up confident, you show up the person you want to be seen as and the leader you want to be. And that work is so important to me. And so I would say do that. Do the work outside of there. And then you'll show up and be that leader.
awesome. Well, thank you, Diana, for joining me
Thank you.
today. We had a good time, y'all. They
We
probably gonna
did. I
listen
was
to
so
this and be like,
nervous
"Look at."
about this. And
Listen.
I love
They're gonna
you.
be like, listen
I'm
to these
so
two
happy I
CPOs
did
just
this.
having a good time.
Thank you so much. It really
No, you're
was.
welcome. Listen, your authenticity is what keeps people engaged. And you always got to remember that, right? And
Thank
that's
you.
why you said we do the work, right? Because you always want to be our best versions of ourselves. So again, I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of
Thank
One
you so
Step
much.
Away. For all of y'all tuning in, join us for the next conversation. Stay excited, stay helpful, stay positive,
Thank you.
smile at somebody today while you're at work, and remember, we are all just one step away.
One step away. Thank you so much.